Imagine waking up in a world where you don't own your car, your phone, or even your home. You don't buy movies, you stream them. You don't own software, you subscribe to it. You don't keep photos on your hard drive, they're stored somewhere in the cloud. Every month, money leaves your account automatically for access, not ownership. And here's the shocking part. This isn't science fiction. It's the logical endpoint of a system that discovered something far more profitable than selling products, renting your life back to you, one subscription at a time. For decades, ownership was power. If you owned your house, your car, your land, you were free. You decided when to work, when to rest, and who to pay. But the modern economy has quietly flipped that equation. Now, power belongs to whoever controls access. It started innocently enough. In the early 2000s, the internet made sharing easy. Streaming services replaced CDs. Cloud storage replaced hard drives. The idea sounded utopian. Why own when you can share? Less clutter, less responsibility, instant convenience. But that convenience came with invisible chains. Because the moment you stop paying, it all disappears. Your playlists vanish. Your photos are gone. Your digital life turns off like a light switch. You never owned it, you only borrowed it. And that model, the rent model, became irresistible. Corporations realized they could make more money not selling things outright. Instead of a one-time payment, they could extract small monthly payments forever. Software companies stopped selling licenses and moved to subscriptions. Car companies began offering mobility services. Even furniture, clothes, and phones are now offered on rental plans. Ownership was replaced by access, and access can be revoked. The phrase, "you will own nothing and be happy," once dismissed as dystopian, has quietly become the unofficial motto of the modern economy. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's a business model. When you rent everything, the system becomes perfectly predictable. Constant income streams, controlled behavior, and total dependence. But how did we get here? It began with debt, the original form of renting your future. For centuries, debt allowed people to buy what they couldn't afford. Now, subscription culture lets you use what you can't own. It's the same psychological trick but more elegant. You feel rich, but you own nothing. You feel free, but every part of your life depends on payment cycles. The truth is, the economy no longer wants you to be an owner. Owners are unpredictable. They can stop buying, they can resist, they can save. But renters? Renters are compliant. Renters must keep paying or lose everything. Think about housing. In most major cities, buying a home has become nearly impossible. Prices have outpaced wages for decades. So instead of owning, people rent from landlords, from corporations, from investment funds that bought entire neighborhoods. Even homes, the foundation of stability for past generations, are now part of the subscription economy. And cars? They're turning into services. Ride-sharing apps and leasing programs promise flexibility, but in reality, they shift ownership away from people and toward corporations. Soon, autonomous vehicles won't belong to anyone, they'll belong to companies who rent them by the mile. The same logic applies to money itself. When cash disappears, your access to wealth is no longer physical, it's digital, conditional, and monitored. If your account is frozen, your money isn't really yours. If your digital wallet requires approval, your independence is gone. We're heading toward a world where everything you use is rented, from your devices to your data, from your home to your habits. And behind it all is one idea: control through convenience. But here's the irony. People chose this. We traded ownership for ease. We wanted everything on demand, everywhere, all the time. We didn't read the fine print. We thought we were gaining freedom, but we were outsourcing it. When you own something, you take responsibility for it. You maintain it, fix it, protect it. When you rent, you simply consume. Responsibility shifts upward to corporations, to platforms, to the system. And once responsibility shifts, so does power. Your phone updates automatically, you can't stop it. Your car collects data you can't access. Your smart home listens, learns, and locks, controlled remotely. It's no longer your property. You're just a user, living on borrowed access. Let's look deeper. Ownership has always been about more than stuff. It's about autonomy, the ability to decide for yourself. When people owned land, they could feed themselves. When they owned tools, they could build. When they owned gold, they could save. Take that away, and you create a society of permanent dependency. You don't need chains or prisons, you just need rent. Rent is the invisible leash of the modern world. It keeps you running, paying, producing, while believing you're free. And this system is evolving faster than most people realize. Corporations no longer want customers, they want members. Governments no longer want citizens, they want participants in managed systems. The future isn't about owning, it's about subscribing to life itself. Look at what's happening with digital identity. Soon, your driver's license, health record, even your reputation will live in the cloud. You won't hold it, you'll access it through permission. Lose your access, lose your life. One algorithmic decision, and your digital existence could vanish. And yet, people keep signing up. Every new app, every new service, every agree button, another small surrender. Piece by piece, you trade privacy for convenience, autonomy for comfort, and ownership for access. Until one day, there's nothing left to own, only permissions to request. But here's what's most dangerous. When ownership disappears, accountability disappears with it. If you don't own your car, you can't repair it, you must go through the company. If you don't own your data, you can't control how it's used. If you don't own your software, you can't see its code. You become dependent on systems you don't understand and can't escape. It's not a coincidence. This structure mirrors the logic of empires. Control the roads, control the trade, control the code, control the world. Today, the empire isn't a place, it's an infrastructure. And its currency is trust. The real war of the 21st century isn't fought over land or oil. It's fought over ownership, over who controls the means of access. And the battlefield is invisible. Your phone, your account, your connection to the digital grid. Because whoever controls access, controls behavior. Subscription models, smart contracts, central bank digital currencies. These aren't separate trends. They're pieces of the same system, a world where freedom is measured by your ability to keep paying. And make no mistake, there will be a breaking point. When people realize that convenience came at the cost of independence, there will be backlash. History shows it always happens. Every empire that overreached eventually collapsed under the weight of its own control. But here's the twist. The system doesn't need to collapse. It can adapt. It doesn't need to take your freedom by force. It just needs to make you forget what freedom meant. It will keep offering smoother interfaces, faster access, smarter AI, easier payments, until you stop asking questions. Until ownership sounds old-fashioned. Until privacy sounds suspicious. Until dependence feels normal. And maybe that's the final stage of the plan, not domination, but domestication. A world where people don't fight for ownership because they no longer remember why it mattered. But it still matters. Because ownership isn't about greed. It's about grounding. It's about having something that no one can take away with a click. Real ownership of land, of skills, of ideas, of time is the foundation of sovereignty. If you lose that, you lose yourself. So ask yourself, how much of your life do you truly own? Your data? Your home? Your money? Your time? Or are you just renting them from systems that could shut you out tomorrow? The future doesn't belong to those who rent everything. It belongs to those who remember what ownership means and refuse to give it up. Because if everything is rented, then freedom itself has a price tag. And the moment you stop paying, the lights go out.